A very interesting question is being asked on Twitter today, and we talked about the local teams. We did not talk about the NFL draft, and I will tell you this. I do not like the feeling of not caring who the Jets draft because we have a quarterback. Like, I didn't care who they drafted, but the question on Twitter is this. Should Mel Kiper Jr. be inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame? David Samson laughed at me. He said no. Mike Ryan said yes. Tony is shaking his head.
He absolutely
yes.
should be.
I
As
agree.
What? As what? A player?
One of the greatest draft analysts of all time.
An analyst?
Yeah.
He didn't do well this year.
Oh, please.
Players, executives, people of import to the game, to the growth of the game.
Mel's important to the game.
Mel is hugely
Yes.
important to the growth of the game. He
Yes.
was a central figure to what was not a real event in that sport, and over time, with his massive contributions, became a massive television event that helped grow the game.
Because of Mel Kiper or because of the fact
In
that
part.
the draft is of players who help your team immediately, and the NFL is a juggernaut in terms of fantasy and gambling?
No, Mel Kiper helps the theater of it. He's very good at what he does.
He sets the table for all of those people coming in, and then you could see, oh, this guy's good, this guy's bad. What is Mel saying?
I'm not impugning his ability.
You're saying
to
there's
be
no
good.
value in the person that is the face of breaking down the NFL
No,
draft,
I'm actually
which has
not saying that
grown
at all.
into a monster.
I'm not saying that at all. It's great. It's great TV. It's great theater. The Hall of Fame?
Yes.
It's two totally different things. Like the TV Hall of Fame? Okay, I'm good with that.
They put journalists in the Hall of
You
Fame.
mean like Canton?
Yeah.
Canton.
Like
Gil
John,
Brandt.
A bronze bust.
Gil
John
Brandt
Clayton's-
is in the Hall of Fame.
John Clayton's in the Hall of Fame. The professor. I mean,
with all due respect to the late, great John Clayton, Mel Kiper's contributions to the game and growing it are greater than John Clayton's.
David, why do you have 3 cups?
Yeah, why do you have so many cups?
It is a good question.
Water, orange juice.
2 waters there, huh?
Well, one's from Nothing Personal this morning, and I don't refill a water cup.
Of course.
Ever?
Well, because I have different places where whatever.
You don't even like
Really?
your own germs.
No, I just have these are paper cups, and you used to have, when I got here last week, you had bottles of water, and then they disappeared. There's no more bottles.
Well, because we're trying to save the planet
And
by
we
getting
used them
rid of
all
the
too,
plastic
yeah.
bottles by filling plastic cups and throwing them away after one use.
Well, those are paper, though, Billy.
Yeah, these are not plastic.
No, but we used to only have this machine that tells us how great we're doing saving the planet, and it says you saved the planet by 197 bottles while we're filling up disposable plastic cups. So we're doing basically the same thing. Can I ask you a question about the Hall of Fame? I thought for a little bit, and I'm still not 100% sure, I thought Jose Canseco should go to the Hall of Fame as a contributor to the game.
Why?
Like in steroids?
I want
Yeah,
the
yeah.
steroids era back.
as the face of steroids. If you're looking for the
Actually,
face of steroids,
yeah.
it would
Well,
be
he actually
A-Rod or
ushered in
Clemens.
for his contributions to the game and actually bringing steroids in.
Well, at the time it was for cleaning up the game, but the game hasn't really been cleaned up. It's just people figured out how to beat the system.
Right.
But I feel like he should have been a contributor to the game
for selling everyone out.
Yeah. For
Right.
cleaning up
going
the game.
bankrupt and not helping his kids with money.
Nothing personal.
No, I'm just asking, like, what is it that you have for Jose?
Well, who do you
Canseco?
think should go in more, Mel Kiper Jr. to the Canton or Jose Canseco?
Kiper.
Cooperstown. Really?
Yes.
Huh.
Got him.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
that
home run bouncing off his head is pretty iconic, though.
that's a terrible comparison, isn't it?
I mean, Kiper is the NFL draft. He has made that thing popular. I mean, it's a combination of, yes, it's hope and will your team take the right guy and all that. But Mel Kiper really shined a light on it and made it popular in a way that no one else has.
But he hasn't added value to any teams himself, and he has no rings. Now, again, this is not anti-Mel Kiper. I'm not imputing his qualities as a draft mock guy. I also know that from CBS Sports HQ, they start the next mock draft the day the draft ends. It's an entire industry now.
Kiper already knows for 2029 who's number 1.
You realize that that's not valuable to me.
To you.
And it's not valuable to those kids, on a side note.
I agree with that, actually.
I mean, it's absolutely
It's
absurd.
valuable to keeping the NFL machine going during what is supposed to be a slow time. They had this huge television event during their off season. He's been the staple of it for 40 years.
Were you guys bummed you didn't have a pick? It didn't dampen the weekend at all, right? Like
What,
not being
are you talking
involved in
about
the draft?
Dolphin fans?
Yeah,
No, didn't bother me.
because you had the best weekend of your life.
Yeah,
So, like you and I, we used to be draft buds.
I know.
The NFL draft used to be one of my favorite sporting events of the year because as a Browns fan, it It was essentially my Super Bowl
Yes.
for 20 years. And now that I don't have a team, I ignored the draft completely.
Are you still no Browns because of Watson, right?
Right.
And you have not. Have people petitioned you to join?
Yeah,
We used
but
to
I
do
really
that.
enjoyed my year off from following a team and being able to go to all sorts of home field advantages for teams and celebrate
Wait.
the great sport of American football.
12 times per week at a minimum, it would get in front of my desk every year. I, right now, am not a fan of any team. I am taking bids. Do you want me to be a Marlins fan? If so, what will you offer? Have you gotten any great offers?
Yeah, I got good offers, but I'm really enjoying not being a fan of a particular team and just being a fan of the league and watching the game.
If
What
you're
would
a
it
fan
take?
of the league, though, the draft would be the best day for you
Yeah,
because
right.
all of your teams are doing
Right.
well.
You would think I would
Right.
just be like, yes, great pick. Yes, great pick. Yes, great pick. But that experience is also diluted to the point that it's all just the same base level emotion. So now I just don't need to watch, and I'll celebrate these players when they get on the field.
Wait,
Hurrah.
David, did you ever take a fan up on their offer?
No, we did offer tickets. So one thing that I like doing is when someone said, I'm going with my child and we're going to all 30 parks.
Right.
Or I'm trying to make a memory for my child or for my parent, my older parent, and we would do free tickets and leave them and get them on the field for BP. But when people were asking us to buy their fandom, I started with, would you buy season tickets? And the answer is no. I'm just saying I'll be a fan of your team. And then I lost interest.
I mean, you needed fans, though. I mean,
But you start that, right? It's like doing a refund
right.
when your team loses. You can't do that.
So you would make them buy season tickets?
If you want to be a fan,
You
I'm
have to
happy
buy season tickets.
Right, be a fan.
What if
buy
they wanted like a
tickets.
12-game package? Not good enough?
I would count that, actually. That's because things were going so badly.
What if they bought 4 individual games?
No, in the beginning, when the new stadium opened, it was full season or bust. And then, like a few years later, it was, hey, you'll come to 3 games? Way to go. Terrible. Embarrassing. Mike, I want to know what it would take for you to choose a team. An autographed jersey?
He's
I
not
was,
choosing
I was
a team.
actually I was actually talking to a lot of folks over at WrestleMania. There was actually a large contingent of Cleveland Browns media members that got to talking to me, some about it, and they were like, "Well, do you think you'd ever come back if Deshaun Watson wasn't the quarterback anymore?" I'm like, I don't know, that might be a possibility. I don't know what it is. I just know whenever I see that quarterback lining up, number 4, it makes me want to puke. And I don't want that with my football experience. And I really enjoyed not having to suffer the losses. There was that Jet game, Stugotz.
Yep.
I think it was week 3 when Joe Flacco came back against Jacoby Brissett.
I remember it well.
I was
Yeah.
at Jerry World.
Top 5 day for me.
I was at Jerry World about to watch Joe Burrow versus Cooper Rush. It was a game that went down to the very end, the last kick, and the Cowboys won that game. I remember watching that, and that's when I knew I was free because I felt nothing. I felt nothing after watching the Browns yet again invent a brand new way to lose. And my immediate reaction after watching that, I laughed, and I was happy that I didn't have to carry that suffering with me because that would have ruined my day. It would have been miserable to be around. All my friends would have hated being around me at that Cowboy game, and I just kept it moving. I really liked that.
Was that the game where Flacco brought his kids dressed in the jersey of the visiting team?
Yes.
And I lost my mind.
Yes.
Would never have allowed that in a million years.
Yep.
And I got criticized.
What would
by-
you do? Like take his kids from him? Or?
No, I would take the jersey off the kid.
I liked being able to tour the NFL. I got to see Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady on Sunday Night Football. I got to see the Bills versus the Packers. I really enjoyed my experience, and it was I would encourage more people to do it, especially with the NFL, because people bet on it so much and they have their fantasy
Just root for the Shields.
teams.
Yeah.
It's made for television anyways. You don't have to root for the laundry if you don't have to.
You can't build a league on that, though. You can't build a league on all of you doing that.
I think more and more people are actually coming to my
And
side.
that's a problem.
Can we get back to David making a 6-year-old take off a jersey? Like you're willing, like that PR, like the PR getting out of David Samson.
It would happen
Team
in the
president
clubhouse.
asks this pressures 6-year-old to take off jersey.
Not pressured, not allowed.
Enforced.
Yeah. You
And you
cannot
think
wear
that-
a jersey of an opposing team that you're playing.
And you
if
think
you
that
are related.
that juice is worth the squeeze?
Oh, God.
It's more important that 6-year-old's not wearing that jersey than the PR of you enforcing him to take it off.
I think that every player in that clubhouse would agree with me.
Wow.
David doesn't care about PR. I mean, I'm with you, Chris.
Do you think that was a game? It wouldn't make sense for Flacco's kids to be wearing brown jerseys.
He was wearing some. I have a
I
recollection.
think that might be the Ravens at the Jets because he had such a
Ravens,
history
Jets.
with the Ravens.
Would you allow someone to walk in here with someone anywhere in this office to wear a McAfee
If
shirt?
Stugotz's nephew
A McAfee shirt?
walked
yeah,
into
I
this
don't-
studio with a
I would have
McAfee
no
shirt,
problem.
like, what am I going to, like, punch him in the face?
Wait a minute. Someone walks in here wearing the Pat McAfee Show shirt.
I wouldn't care.
I have one.
I wouldn't care. Wouldn't care.
No one would care.
I literally
Every
own one.
executive,
I would be like, cool shirt.
and you would be. I would be offended by it. How come no one's ever done
What?
What?
if I walked in here wearing a
Make
McAfee
him take
shirt,
it off.
No one would care.
you better have some more.
Would you
pride
be
in
a-
your
I'm gonna wear a
company.
McAfee
Really?
shirt to trigger
Let
David
me tell you.
tomorrow.
Would you be
You
offended
guys
if I
are
wore
way
a
off
Joe
on
Banner
this.
shirt?
No,
Whoa, former team exec.
you guys are way
Trying to
off
make
on
it in
this.
media.
If you walked,
Is there a team executive jersey I could wear where you would be offended?
Dombrowski,
No, the guy from the Padres that you hate.
Peter Seidler, AJ Preller.
That's the one.
I just would like to point out that you guys are not getting this properly. Do you think if you work in Atlanta for Coca-Cola that you can walk around drinking a Pepsi?
That's different.
Oh,
That's
no. You don't think you're
different.
competing with the McAfee
I think
Show?
if you work for Coke and you're drinking a Pepsi while you're on the job, that's different than someone walking in here randomly with
Not-
a Pardon My Take shirt on.
No,
you
I'm
know?
talking about one of the people who works here.
Oh, I don't care. I mean,
This
Well,
is
it
not
would-
the kind of workplace, David. I'm sorry.
It would also be like Stugotz's
Here's my
daughter.
Bill Polian shirt.
It'd be like Stugotz's daughter wearing a McAfee shirt or something. Like it's not the employee, it's
Take
their
your
kid.
daughter to work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He wouldn't have her do it.
That'd be a funny bit. We'd put her on air probably if she did that.
why are we buying team executive jerseys and where can we purchase these?
Bill Polian shirt.
Gene Michaels.
It's make
Steve
your
Martin
own.
also.
David, why would
Here's a Seton O'Connor shirt, Jazz. Read it and weep.
Just naming every executive you know, and you're forgetting what the
Danette.
point is.
Here's a little Paulie Paps for you, Tony.
We're in a competition, folks. Unless you guys are not realizing it, we're competing
Here's
for eyeballs.
Hembo.
Keep
Love
laughing,
Hembo.
everybody.
my guy?
Love Hembo.
Stu, if I don't see you in New York,
Yeah.
then I know that there's a problem. We already have established that Mike is going to Toronto on his own dime, something that you will not do.
No.
You're not going to go to New York on your own dime.
Now you've gone too far.
What are you doing to get to New York? Because whatever it is, it didn't work yesterday.
Mike, you're going to Toronto for game 1 or game 2?
Game 2.
Game 2. All right. I want to go to New York for game 2, which is tomorrow night, Knicks Heat. You're asking me what I've done?
What
I
actions
sent
have
John
you taken?
Skipper an email saying, hey, do you know anyone who can get me Heat Knick tickets for game 2? And he wrote back, if you want to come up for game 2, I will get you tickets for game 2, which was very nice of Skip.
So you do have tickets.
Well, I wrote him an email last night, and I haven't heard back yet. So, but I imagine
Was it the old, I might be there, I got to talk to Abby. I
no,
got
no,
a
no.
flight.
This was definitive. I'm hopping on a bird to New York.
Do
Okay,
you have the reservation?
I have flights booked. I have my parents' apartment on the Upper East Side, and I want to go to Knicks Heat game 2 tomorrow night. I prefer courtside seats. I am angling for courtside seats because I think it'd be fun
Next to Rogers.
to have courtside seats.
Well,
I do.
Have you reached out to Dolan?
I have not reached out to
Has
Dolan.
Skipper?
I don't know who Skipper's reached out to.
Well,
I'm
don't
trying not
you-
to ask too many questions.
Well, how do you get what you want if you don't ask the question?
I mean, it's John Skipper. Like when he says, "I will get you tickets," I'm assuming those tickets. I'm not saying they're
What
going
if
to be
they're in the blue
courtside.
seats?
I don't think Skip's going to get
Do
me
people
blue
know
seats.
what the blue seats are?
Who are you going to sit with? Because you also
Abby.
last week. Well, because last week you promised Azaria if you got tickets, you'd go with him.
Well, I would go with Hank, and Hank is going to go to the game. That's a good angle, actually.
You haven't called him either.
I have not. Well, I just let him know that I was going to the game.
Then why would he think you need tickets?
It was a very open-ended text. Like, hey, I'm just going to be there, and I wanted to see if he would make the offer first.
No, the only way he'd make the offer is if he thinks you don't have the ticket.
Jeremy's asking if you need a video producer, Stu, as well.
Yeah, I'm there if you need me.
Taylor wants to go. He was there yesterday.
By the way,
Really?
Taylor's wearing a Knicks shirt today, David. Is that allowed?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
We're not competing
I
with
don't know
the
if
Knicks.
the rules, man.
If it was a Dan Patrick Show shirt, though,
Get out! David
Fired.
would tackle him.
Yeah. And the sooner you all realize that, the better off I think you'll be.
I was.
You know what? I like this
Keep
take from you,
choking,
David.
everybody.
It's a weird take. You like it, Tony?
You know what? I like it. I'm in. I'll tackle the next person that walks in with one of those shirts.
It won't happen. And if it does, it'll
I know,
happen
because I'll
once.
tackle him.
I promise you that.
I will say this: I've been afraid to wear my ESPN shirts that I have since we left. Like I'm comfortable in them. I want to
tackle
wear
you.
them. They're in my rotation outside of here. But I've kind of been like, I don't think that I should do that while we're on air. And I think it would ruffle feathers. Like, what's the point?
There's no question, Billy. You're on the right side of this one.
That's a completely different scenario. You guys used to work at ESPN and left in the not greatest terms.
I thought they were great terms, actually.
Really?
Look at what,
They weren't my terms.
if you're Dan, he left and what he got with back episodes and RSS feeds.
Yeah.
I just can't
Great
figure
deal,
out
huh?
where you're looking at this from. Any of you.
I mean,
We're
I
in a
don't.
A
competitive
few
business.
inches higher than you.
Excuse me? I didn't hear
Sorry,
that.
that was a short joke.
Oh, thank you for adding so much to the show and keeping it going.
It is rare that
Right
I
to
host
the
a
short
show where
joke.
I'm the tallest of the hosts. I mean, what a day.
No, but I think it's great. Stu, when Dan asked
I'm
how
sorry,
it
it was
went,
too
I think
easy.
we have to say that it's gone great because we didn't get the first short joke until the fifth segment.
I
Thank
feel like
God.
we've gotten off track. What were we talking about?
Me,
I'm
courtside.
trying to get Stu to New York and
Yes.
trying to make it about business. Stu, you could buy your own tickets and you could buy your own plane flight. You could go. Because you
I
not
could go.
being here, right? We don't remember what day you're here, what day you're not. You just go.
Same here.
Right. So what's the big deal?
No, I'm going to go. I'm just wondering. I would like to sit courtside. It'd be fun.
For free.
My wife has never been to Madison Square Garden,
The Mecca.
and so she keeps asking, "Can we go for a Billy Joel concert?" She loves
So
Billy
good.
Joel.
There, once a month.
I know.
Every month.
And we haven't made it up there yet for a Billy Joel concert because I'm too busy going to Dead shows.
Didn't we go to a play together in New York?
Me and
came
her
up for-
did, yeah. To Bruce.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Bruce on Broadway.
And you got me such great tickets
That
to
was
that
great.
play. I was thinking that perhaps David Samson could be the one that gets me courtside to Knicks Heat Game 2.
But you haven't even asked.
Well, I'm asking now.
That doesn't count.
What do you mean?
I don't want to be I don't want to be sloppy fourths.
I haven't asked anyone yet.
Do rich people get everything for free?
That's how effective things are.
Wow.
I'm happy to pay.
You're so full of shit. You're not going to pay for courtside
You
seats.
could pay for courtside seats right now, or you could try to be the celebrity guest, where you have to agree to be on the jumbotron. You have to
Right.
agree to go into the lounge,
Right.
make an appearance, leave
Wine
when
and
there's
dine.
paparazzi.
Wait, they do
go
that?
out through the side, right? The one pen forum. You know how they all leave through an awning. It's the Dolphins did it with the red carpet or the teal
orange carpet.
orange carpet. That may be a while ago. You don't remember that, but they used to have celebrities go in and out of Dolphins games.
So I just have to entertain people and
You have to do everything that you have total contempt for.
But also, Stugotz, like you just had this conversation with Azaria where he told you there's a tier system. So, like, for the second playoff game of the Knicks, you're probably not going to be tier 1. Like, you will be probably like 10th row somewhere up.
But
Like,
it
you're,
is after
you're not
a
going to be
loss, though.
courtside.
after
That's
a
the
loss.
thing. It's after a loss. You know, there's a bit of a dip.
I'm seeing
Good timing.
courtside. I'm seeing 2 courtside tickets right here, $33K each.
There you go.
Skip's got that.
You got that, Stu.
Can you go without Abby, or can it just be you?
I have to go with Abby.
Because otherwise, what?
I'll select 3 so Jeremy can go too.
Thanks, Chris.
If Jeremy goes, it's business because he'll be doing content.
If you're row 3, that goes down to $4,700 per. I can get you 4 of those at that price.
Really?
That's a big dip.
Seems like a good option.
Don't you want to wait for Game 7?
No. Like, I want to go right now. Abby wants to go. It's exciting. There's no guarantee of a Game 7.
You going to make a trip of it, though?
I'm trying to make a
show,
trip. Yes.
like-
You better
go
get
for
game
more than a
5.
day.
Or else
Yeah.
it'll be
Because
over.
Mike said he's going for one day in and out of Toronto.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. To make it, so I could expense the entire thing, I reached out to the Jets. And I said, if I'm in New York on Tuesday, can I come out to your facilities and get some time with Robert Saleh, Joe Douglas, and perhaps Aaron will be there?
Wait, what's happening now?
I'm trying to turn this into a work trip where I could expense it, okay? So I said, if I get out there Tuesday, right, can I come out to the Jets facility, spend a little time with Saleh, spend
So
a little
wait,
time with Joe Douglas?
Are you at the Jets facility tomorrow?
Isn't it
Is this
Saleh?
what you're...
It'd be Wednesday.
I'm still working it out, Mike.
Yeah, you
Wednesday.
are, because I woke up to an email like, hey, Mike, I'm out for the rest of the week, right?
Wait,
I'm
I
like,
mean-
what?
Wait,
I
what?
mean, I have courtside. I mean,
You don't know if you don't have any tickets. I heard this segment.
It doesn't even matter. He's out for the week.
He's
whether
out
he's at the
Wednesday,
game or not.
Thursday. and
That's
we're-
the Big Ten tournament.
No,
I mean,
Tuesday,
I've
Wednesday,
sent notes to the
Thursday.
former EP. I'm like, did anyone know that Stugotz is out this week? No one knows.
been on the calendar forever.
No,
That
it
is a
hasn't.
lie.
It's
It's
a
not-
lie.
Are you here
You're-
today just
Mike
for fun?
just put it on the calendar.
I just put it in the calendar.
It's in my calendar. I mean,
It's in your calendar, but it's not in anybody
Let me-
else's
Can I ask
calendar.
you a question? So you have
I
on.
sent everything to Whittingham. I mean,
Okay,
he was
well-
the EP when I sent it.
So you have on the calendar that you're off May 29th. Is that still in play, or did you
Let
put
me
it in
check.
wrong?
What
Because
is
last
May
week you were
29th?
also on vacation, but you're here. So
May 29th, huh?
I find it to be jarring to be in the studio and not know whether Stu is here or not until he
I mean,
just shows.
I do
Welcome.
need to sort that out. We need people.
May 29th is Memorial Day. Billy, we're off. I mean,
no, the 30th, 31st, June 1st, and June 2nd. You're also the whole week. You've given yourself off. Are you off that week?
Yeah, I'm off that week. Yes.
It's Eddie play. You know, you give yourself, and then you can
Right.
always take
And
it
then
away.
you're here for another week, and then you're off another week after that in June.
Yep, I am.
Do you get full-time benefits?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Then you're going to Colorado
a
like
good
2
rep.
weeks after that for 4 days.
Ah, the Boulder shows.
And we're back in Dead and Company season.
Do you have a minimum
Yeah.
appearances you have to make?
No.
You
I have
just-
unlimited vacation according to my contract. I mean,
Yeah, a heads up would be nice.
what do you mean? The Big Ten
It
tournament.
says unlimited.
It's
Right.
a shared calendar, isn't it?
Right.
unlimited.
I
There's
guess,
a reason
but
why companies do unlimited. You know, it has nothing to do with their love of you.
Yeah, so they don't have to pay out vacation days that
That's
you don't
the
use.
only reason.
Wait, why are you guys lashing out at me?
I'm not.
mean,
I love taking vacations.
we
Stu.
had the
More
greatest
power
day
to
in
ya.
South Florida sports
I'll see you
history
at the Dead
yesterday,
Show
and
at Wrigley.
LeBatard's
You
in
are right
Costa
about that.
Rica.
Yeah.
I mean, you got mad at me.
I
I'm
just-
here today.
no
Yeah,
one's
but-
no
yeah,
one's
but
mad
have
at you.
expectations. I want to be with
Thank
you
you,
every
Stu.
day.
I'm happy you're here.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I won't be here the rest of the week. But
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
here today.
but the thing is, you
Ah,
told
the
us
rare
that
Monday.
today,
Which
which makes it
Friday.
difficult to plan.
Thank you, Stu. But also, last night at 6:04 p.m., do you have me coming in tomorrow?
Well, I mean, it was
He
weird.
was trying to get out of today.
You got to shoot your
It
shot.
said Pablo and Samson on the calendar.
It did.
He's right. It did.
Thank you.
That
Thank you.
it did, but
Pablo is never going to be here today.
but
No,
it
but the
also
schedule
never
did
said
say
in the
that.
calendar Stugotz off for the rest of the week.
It said Dan off though, and we just saw. You know.
Right, yeah.
And we were planning on Samson being here, and if you're not here,
Thank you, David. Thank
I'm
you.
here. I'm
yeah,
not going
if
anywhere.
you're not here, I kind of need to get someone else. to
Well,
be
wait.
here.
When are you leaving? You and the rest of the week?
Yes. I was told to be in for the next 2 weeks.
Okay, well that wasn't in the
Well,
calendar.
Dan's back tomorrow, right?
Who told you that?
All right, so we're covered for Stugotz. then. That's good.
Incidentally,
Yeah.
I will actually be out the rest of this week, starting on Wednesday.
Why do
F1.
I?
You're
And
working,
tomorr's
though,
your
aren't
work
you?
from home day.
Mike, you're going
So
to
this is
Toronto.
it.
I'm
This
going
is the
into.
only day.
Wait, no, I'm going
You're
to
going
Toronto
to another country.
after I finish my work on Thursday
Right.
because I want to be here for everything.
And it's Canada. I mean, you just need one of those little passport cards to get in there.
Jessica, can't you say that you're working F1?
I'm not working F1, David. I'm going
Can't
to a
you
wedding
say-
this weekend.
Oh, you're not even going to F1?
I will not be at the Miami Grand Prix.
Was there a question? Is this one of
Yes,
your? Is this
there
one
was
of your
a
track
question.
friends?
This is a friend who named me a bridesmaid, so
Oh, there's no
I
choice.
don't really have a
Damn,
choice.
you gotta go.
How quick did you see the conflict? Like the minute you were
The
asked?
second I got the save the date, I was like, the F1 calendar hadn't come out yet, and I was like, I know it's gonna be the first weekend in May.
Did you feel that you could ask her? Was the date flexible?
It definitely is not flexible.
Who would do
Once you
that?
send save the dates, the date is not flexible for me to go to an F1 race.
Well, it's an F1 race in Miami.
Yeah, I know. Trust
and you're
me.
the F1
I have been
like it's your thing.
distraught about this for like 6 months. But there's nothing I can do. I looked at flights. I looked at all the options to get back Sunday or to leave late Friday, but there's absolutely no travel options that would
I
make
want to
it
put that on the
feasible.
poll. What is wrong with asking someone to change the date to benefit yourself?
But if you're a bridesmaid, you have to go.
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah.
And,
If
and
you
it's
were
not my,
if you were just attending the wedding, you'd probably skip it, right?
No, I think
You would
I
still
think
go?
it would depend. I think I might try to like I probably wouldn't get there early on Friday if
Mm.
I'm just maybe I could have worked something out, but I have to be there for a rehearsal like early Friday, the wedding's Saturday all day, and I can't get there's no direct flights that can take me back to Miami on Sunday.
So are you
Directy.
rooting for a crappy F1 race now?
What's
So
that?
Are you rooting for?
It
a
was
terrible
crappy
F1
last
race?
year, but it doesn't matter if you're in attendance, it's still fun. I mean, I had a great time last year, even though the race was pretty much a
I
non-event.
think your friend is selfish for not having changed the date for you.
It's not about me. It's her wedding.
It's always about me.
I did consider what would have happened if I had gotten some sort of like influencer deal, and then I did the David Samson thing of like, well, what's my price? But I'm going to the wedding.
So today's your last day of the week.
No, I'll be in Wednesday.
Damn.
I can't talk anymore. Heat, Panthers, Knicks, and we've ignored what may be the greatest story of the weekend,
Marlins Cubs.
which is the Marlins sweeping the Cubs and being 10-0 one-run games. I want to just talk about that. No, we have to talk about Steph Curry. Steph Curry went to a Game 7 and put a 50 burger on the beam. Anyone ever seen that? No.
No.
Never been done.
No.
In the history of Game 7s.
After being called old.
What I don't appreciate is that people are saying that this now makes him a top 10 all-time or a top 8 all-time. And for me, Stugotz is trying to
I just
make
told
it
Mike
very
Ryan in
quiet.
his ear that I have tickets. Like I logged into my email and there were a couple of tickets sitting there from
Cutting it up?
from Mr. Skipper and I'm super grateful. I don't know if they're courtside yet.
Did you ask him what location?
I did not. I didn't look yet. But let's continue with
You
Steph
pressed
Curry.
the wrong button, so that was in my ear when you said,
I am very
"I've got
sorry about
tickets."
that. Yes, but keep going with Steph Curry because what we saw yesterday was unbelievable.
Well, where are the tickets?
I'll look them up as David is talking about Steph
Maybe
Curry.
they're leeward.
What section are they?
Is it next to Spike Lee?
Hold on.
That'd be a different section. So, Steph Curry, I want to point out that when
I have
you
row
have a-
117.
No, not row 117.
I mean, section
117.
117, and a very, 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 very low number in terms of rows.
Is it the double? If it's AA, that's really good.
117 is all I know.
That's
not possible.
That's
level
What's
impossible.
the row
G.
number?
You're looking
You
at
just
the
said
ticket
it was a
seats.
low.
You just said it.
I have row 9. 117, row 9.
Do you have 3? One for Jeremy?
I I have 2. Sorry, Jer Bear.
Jeremy, you got to do something to get Abby out of there. You
Hell yeah.
can't deduct the tickets if you don't bring Jeremy.
He didn't pay for the tickets.
I didn't. First off, I offered to pay for the tickets. I just figured John would have an in to get tickets.
You
They're
think
very
John
hard to
didn't
get.
pay?
I'm certain John paid,
He
and I'm
paid
grateful
and
for
is
that. But
deducting it, so he expects business from you.
oh, okay.
The first suggestion from the rest of the shipping container was frame her for murder.
Or just send her to a Broadway show.
Or just get rid of me and go with her.
Now what you do is you
She'd
ask.
prefer that.
Now you need to ask John for Broadway show tickets to send Abby and someone else so that you can take someone to that.
I think I'd rather go to the Broadway show. Heat
David,
5,
she
so
loved
we'll
the
get
Bruce
other ones.
show.
There's so many great shows right now. By the way, it is a great time for Broadway.
Is it?
It really is.
Okay.
So I
Broadway's
think that
back?
there's an opportunity here for Jeremy to get to New York.
Okay.
Whether it's Broadway or the Knicks game, I'm good either way. Broadway sounds great.
So Steph Curry does 50. Did anyone go into that game thinking that the Warriors were not going to win? Because the Kings were favored by 1.5, which means that Vegas, 50% of the people thought they were going to win the game.
I thought that after that performance of the Kings in Game 6, there was a chance that this Warriors thing was coming to an end because the Warriors have been really bad on the road this year, and that's not the championship performance you see on your home court in Game 6. And then Malik Monk kind of did a Dylan Brooks thing where he called them old, and you can't do that to a champion. And Steph, all the questions around Steph and his legacy, I think, were erased with his performance in the finals last year. I capitulated. We saw all we needed to see from him, and yet he still had more in his bag. That's the best Steph Curry performance I think I can remember, because he hasn't, for a player that's been so great up until the most recent NBA Finals he was in, he hasn't had these hugely memorable playoff performances.
He just had it.
He just sent a high. He
Yes.
set a high watermark for what you do in a Game 7. It was phenomenal.
It's the greatest Game 7 ever. There is nobody to score that many points, to do that. What he did, going to a team that is energetic and young and has that crowd that's crazy, like the Beam, for him to go in there, shoot 38 times, and come out with 50 points in a W is one of the greatest things I've seen in the NBA.
Did it feel like that the Kings were a team like the Bulls before Jordan could beat the Pistons, or when you have to beat a team to get to the next level? I felt as though the Warriors were that team for the Kings, so the Kings could go out of this series and say, hey, great job, we're not failures, look at me, Giannis. And yet I left that game saying, you lost a Game 7 at home. That's a failure.
to a team that's not great on the road.
You had not great. They're terrible.
Yes.
And the fact is that the reason Curry got 50 is similar to the reason Butler got 56. There was no one else doing anything. Klay Thompson shooting 1 for 20 or 1 for 10 to start the game.
Klay was bad.
You have no choice but to score if you're Curry to keep yourself in the game in the first half.
Wiggins was bad too.
Yeah, it was real sequences where he looked like he was monstered, but Looney kept giving them second and third chance
He was an
opportunities.
offensive rebound machine.
I want to talk to some analytics people because the approach to boxing out that Mike Brown just kept telling Sabonis to go with did not work whatsoever. Just go up and get the ball. Don't worry about boxing out. That was very clearly early on in this series not going to work against Looney, and it didn't matter. And they lived by the sword and they died by the sword. Every time Sabonis tried to traditionally box his man out, it did not matter whatsoever.
You're seeing a lot of examples in this playoffs in hockey and in basketball, the value of late season important games. I mean, maybe it's just a 1-year outlier. Panthers had to fight for their playoff light, and then they're having success. The Heat did the same thing. The Warriors, the Lakers. I know there are a lot of teams with pedigrees, like Lakers and Warriors are odd to be that low seeded, but you are seeing these teams that played important games late in the season. This year in particular, it seems like that there's great value in playing important games late in the year.
The idea is that it keeps you sharp, and you feel like you're entering the playoffs having played this high level of sport because you've been playing high pressure basketball or hockey. However, in the Heat's case, they were terrible down the stretch.
Right, they lost the first playoff game.
They were really bad down the stretch, which makes their run and the Panthers' run all that more improbable. It's not even.
Well, the Panthers were not terrible down the stretch. The Panthers
a week before the final stretch of games, we all thought it was over. They had the Stahl brothers controversy for Pride Night. They had blown a huge game against the Senators, and it seemed like it was over.
It was
Then
bleak,
Lion
yes.
happened.
Yeah, their playoff probability was down in the 20s.
I mean,
and then they got hot.
With the Heat in the second play-in game, they were trailing to the Bulls with a couple of minutes to go. The Bulls!
They needed a huge performance down the stretch.
Yeah.
Seems like forever ago, doesn't it, though?
Yes.
So who cares, right? Can that be your best day? Can that be a top 5 day when they beat the Bulls to get into the playoffs?
I remember being upset that they beat the Bulls because I was like, "There's no shot that they're going to beat the Bucks."
Right?
How silly!
Do you
How
think
dumb.
the NBA referees knew that the NBA wanted Curry to win last night? I'm just throwing it out there so you're all aware of how this works.
Well,
meetings happen before every game. You
So,
meet
David,
with umpires,
it's
you meet with
funny.
referees.
I was thinking two things as that game unfolded. The NBA got exactly what it wants, right? It has Golden State. It has L.A. It has Boston. It has Philly. It has Miami.
It has New York.
It has New York. It has these. It has all the markets.
their worst playoff series is Kevin Durant versus the 2-time reigning MVP.
Right. They want Denver out of there. Like the NBA wants Denver to go away. They would take Phoenix versus the Lakers. They would take Phoenix versus the Golden State Warriors.
Well, Durant against the Warriors would be a dream, but you want LeBron and the Lakers.
LeBron and Durant would be, I think.
I feel like after the Nuggets, the Heat are the next team they want out of there in terms of value.
No
for
one
the league.
marketable
I would
on
agree.
the Heat.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy
one
is.
No,
Yes.
Jimmy's marketable.
I'm talking about nationwide.
He
They'd
had a-
rather
he
the
had
Knicks. It's not even close.
He
The
had a
NBA wants
bigger
the Knicks
ad
to win.
campaign. I think playoff Jimmy is something to be seen.
They want the Knicks. I'm sorry.
If
to say.
Adam
No,
Silver,
I'm not arguing that they.
they want the Knicks in the finals.
Yeah, but I'm saying that they
Yes.
can market Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's become marketable.
They would take a Knicks-Lakers final right now. That would be it. That would be the dream for them.
That's the dream of every sport.
Yes.
New York, LA.
Would the league rather have Philly or the Heat? Because I think they'd rather
Philly.
have Boston or the Knicks. I'm just saying, like, if we're ranking the Eastern Conference teams in terms of who the league would want least, is it Philly or the Heat?
You want the Heat
Right.
less
Because of
than you
Embiid?
want Philly.
Right.
I think
No,
the Heat
no,
and Denver
actually,
are the
because
two
of-
teams you don't want.
Because of demographics.
Right.
Because of the market size. Because of who's watching what. And you can find people to be interested in Harden, maybe do something going on with Embiid. There's just not a lot of interest outside. I hear that we talk about the Heat a lot. There's not a huge amount of nationwide interest in the Heat.
You're right. I watch. I'm watching the cable debate shows right now, and I had throughout Jimmy Butler's incredible first-round run, and he's not leading off shows. Finally, he's up against an opponent in the Knicks. The only reason the Heat are being talked about early in these shows is because of the Knicks' involvement.
Knicks never won a playoff series after losing Game 1 at home, 0-7.
What were you telling me about Steph Curry free throws in a Game 7?
He missed 2.
Right?
Well, no, he missed
a
his
row.
first ever Game 7 free throws, and that was crazy. I was like, whoa.
That's amazing.
And then the very next free throw, he missed. It was the wildest thing I saw
How
all
many
weekend.
game sets has he been in?
I think it was his 5th or 6th, the Game 7.
David, the other
That's
thing,
crazy.
the other thing,
That's
I was,
more impressive than him getting 50 on the road in a game
It's
7
nuts.
is that he missed back-to-back free throws.
It's nuts. Yes. The other thing I was thinking is to an entire generation, 4 titles, 4 rings, okay, 2 MVPs, 1 final MVP, a 50-point performance on the road in a Game 7. To an entire generation, a younger generation, Steph Curry is their Michael Jordan. Steph Curry is the greatest player many people have ever seen in their entire lives. Like, I always do it by I have to see you play. So I've seen Michael play. Therefore, I know Michael's better than Steph.
So
but
it's
to an
doing-
entire generation,
LeBron's playing in this era.
Right. Those people have all seen LeBron, though.
I know, but they might think Steph is better.
No, there's not one person in
The
the
last
world.
5 years, somebody who's just come into being a teenager the last 5 years, I mean, Steph has been pretty dominant.
And he's still doing it.
But so is LeBron.
4 titles.
LeBron is 38, getting 30
Oh, it's
and
crazy.
10.
I know, David,
So
but
I think that if you're not
there's a
talking-
generation that missed LeBron in its prime.
But
I mean,
LeBron
that's how
at
long,
38
that's how
is
long
still
he's
better
played.
than anyone on the Knicks or Heat. LeBron today is better than playoff Jimmy. I'm sorry, folks.
David, I'm just surprised that you're so impressed with a first-round performance because I thought first-round performances didn't mean shit. I mean, it's cool
LeBron?
that it's Game 7 from Steph, but man, I'm really surprised that you'd be so impressed by this lame first-round performance. Who cares? They're champions.
It gives them a chance to defend their championship.
Okay.
Okay.
Love it. If that is the one contribution that I make during my time here, however long it lasts, it would be for people
It's
to
a crowd favorite,
understand
by the
I'm
way.
doing this at home now.
what you can
Yeah.
wear
Yeah.
and to say,
My wife says,
okay,
okay.
Yeah,
Like, if
you'd be
that's
you'd
really
be
what you wanna
shocked
say,
by
I text it
how
all
many
the time.
times okay is the perfect. Okay is actually the perfect response.
Gets
It
you out of
guarantees
everything.
no argument.
Yeah.
it works all the time.
How can you argue okay?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what you just did with your time off. Hey, I got tickets. Okay. You whispered, Mike, I got tickets.
Okay.
And that's exactly what Mike would say is, okay, like life goes on.
I'm being selfish now. I want courtside. Can you make it happen, David?
I want you to tell John that his tickets aren't good enough.
You could
I
flip.
want to see the email, dear Mr. Skipper.
No,
way.
Your
what you do
tickets
is
aren't good
you
enough.
list his tickets for a couple thou each.
Right.
Nice little foundation payment for the big tickets.
I like how you're thinking.
I want you to resell the Skipper tickets after you tell him that they're not good enough.
Will you get me courtside if I do it?
Send the email to Skipper.